What's up, good people? We mobile once again. Yo, shout out to Dave on LinkedIn for dropping this comment. So Dave asked in response to the first video as far as planning things out, what do you do on the other side? Like, what's the advice to the developer on the other side of that who plans it out too much, right? Where we get into this analysis paralysis type thing. So this one's for you, Dave. Dear developer, get it to work first, right? So Dave isn't the only one who goes through this analysis paralysis. We are conditioned for most of our lives that we need to have a perfect product, right? Like, we're gonna put work into something and we need to get it done right the first time and it needs to be perfect. That's not true. That's not even true in life, right? Definitely not true in software development. My golden rule in software development is get it to work. I don't care what that looks like. I don't care how many lines of code you need to do to get the thing to do the thing that you want it to do. So there's this concept in software development called MVP, minimal viable product. And that's the goal, right? Your goal is to get to your MVP of the application. What's an MVP? Well, if I look at a list of requirements or someone coming to me and saying, hey, I need an app that can do this, or I need a web page that can do or show this, my first iteration of that is going to be, how can I get this to a working prototype with the very basics? Then I can at least see that in theory this works. And from there you can always go back and iterate, right? You can go back and make improvements, you can make changes. That is one of the beauties of being a developer, is that you start with something very basic and then you iterate on the ideas, and then eventually you end up building a very robust application. I like to use the analogy of Instagram, right? If you think of Instagram at its MVP state, all it is just a photo cloud repository online, right? I create a profile and I can just throw some photos in there and I can go back and I can view my library of photos. Cool. Next iteration. Well, let's make this more interactive. Let's say that, hey, other people can look at your photos and they can click a button and like it. Oh, that's cool. Now let's add a comment feature. Let's add the ability to keep track of other people's photos by following them. Let's do an instant message, right? Like, so every new version of this application, it eventually becomes this very complex, robust thing, but in its original version, it's very simple. You gotta prove the concept. Same thing in coding. You gotta prove that the thing can do what the thing can do. Here's what I imagine when I see individuals overanalyzing something, right? So I imagine them trying to build a car. And they're going around the table and they're coming up with these grand designs. They're like, all right, this car is gonna be this color, the body style is gonna be like this, these are the rims we're gonna get, we're gonna use these kind of tires. Oh yeah, make sure we got this kind of suspension. What kind of radio y'all need? Okay, yeah, let's get one of those kind of radios. And they get to this beautiful final product they spent all this time on, and nobody thought about putting the engine in. Doesn't even work. It's beautiful, but it doesn't even do anything. Same idea with code, right? Like, no, you want to make sure that the car can even drive before you start adding all these extra fancy features on it. So again, the idea of getting it to work relates the same in code. You're not going to put all those extra things on your code or in your code before you can figure out that the thing actually works, right? So putting the engine in the car first, driving it around, make sure it even does the thing that you want it to do before you start adding all the extra features, gives you the satisfaction of one, all right, I know I got something that actually works. Or if you put the engine in and you realize that maybe it's the wrong size engine, or it's not powerful enough, whatever the thing is, you can always pivot from that point, right? Which is probably the most important part of getting an MVP, is the ability to pivot early before you invest all this time and energy into a final product, only to realize it's not what the client wanted anyway. So my advice to all of our analysis paralysis individuals out there is figure out what the basic things are that you need to get this application working. Code that out, get it to work, test it, make sure it does all the things that you want it to do. If you're working with the client, show the client, hey, this is a prototype. This is an MVP of what your application is going to do. Is this the functionality that you wanted? All right, now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna add that next feature to it. Now I'll add this next feature. Again, you take coding into something very complex and you break it down into these small, chunkable, manageable sized pieces of logic or features or whatever you want to call it to get to a final product. That's how I avoid the whole analysis paralysis. Kindest regards, yours truly, him. I hope this helped, Dave. Deuces.